If you have a wrap or PPF, then you need this.
Halo.
Hey there, Internet Keith here. Welcome to the Cars with Keith YouTube channel. Now in this video, you may already know, Helen, our 440i, just got wrapped. Now what's the purpose of a wrap? Obviously you can change the color of your car, but you're also protecting the paint underneath. But what's protecting the protectant? What's protecting that vinyl wrap? Well, for most people, they just kind of throw a quick detailer or some kind of ceramic spray wax or something on there. But what you really need is a ceramic coating specifically built for flexible surfaces, like PPF and vinyl wrap. Years down the line after doing a PPF or even a vinyl wrap, sometimes it yellows. It gets beaten by the UV light. It is protecting the paint underneath from the UV light, but nothing's really protecting the PPF. If you want to protect that protectant and make that surface even slicker, give it extra little pop, this is what you need. So if it's been a little while since you wrapped or PPF'd the car, you need to do a maintenance wash. So something like a W5 all-purpose cleaner mixed with some W4 citrus foam and some W6 fallout remover. So once you're done washing, it's time to dry the car. But you want to make sure the car is extremely dry. Maybe leave it overnight and do it the next day, because you don't want any water coming in any of those crevices to interfere with the application of the product. Once you're done with that, we're going to want to make the surface as sterile as possible. So I have half of my spray bottle here with distilled water. Then we'll pour the rest of this panel wipe in there and mix it up. If you can't use an IPA 50%, you don't have to have the panel wipe. We'll wipe the surface down, let it dry for a second, and then we're going to do an application. So in the box, you got a pair of gloves. You actually have instructions from Gtechniq. We have your applicator pad, basically a 2-finger approach with the pad. You get your bottle. I always would suggest the 50 milliliter. It's always best to have more, especially if you're doing 2 coats. You just don't want to judge the size of your car and then not have enough product. And I'm going to use everything that's in this box. I'm not going to use an aftermarket applicator or gloves or anything like that. We're just going to use exactly what we have. All right, first things first, obviously make sure that the car is kind of cool to the touch, that it's not really hot. You don't want to apply this stuff when it's hot. I've heard that you could, but I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So I have an MF1 microfiber here, and we're just gonna spray it pretty liberally on the surface. And this is just gonna get rid of anything that's left on there. Obviously this thing just came out of the box, so it's not a whole lot on here. But obviously the shop that wrapped it could have fingerprints on the car, which is gonna leave an oil deposit, which you really don't want that. You want this product to adhere directly to the vinyl surface and nothing else. Now this stuff's supposed to be able to last up to 2 years, I believe. You'll be able to reapply in a couple of years. And the best thing about like these kind of coatings is it basically makes your wrap look new, basically indefinitely. Take good care of it. Do your maintenance washes every few months to unclog those pores, get that awesome beading, and you're going to be completely satisfied with how awesome these coatings are. I'm laying out my 2 microfibers. You're going to kind of use them like in a wax on, wax off Karate Kid. One is the first and then the other one is the second around. You're kind of wiping it all off and then coming back around like this. Making sure you're keeping track of these. Now these will be thrown away when you're completely done, because this stuff will harden and you don't want to mar another surface with this. Now anytime you first start out doing something that you've never done before, start out in smaller sections. Get used to how you're reading the coating, how it's flashing, how it's going onto the surface, so you'll know how much product to put on each time, and then you can start expanding to much larger areas. Now initially we're going to soak this down a little more. We want to basically keep the surface kind of wet. As you see, it'll just kind of pour out. There we go. That'll be the initial amount. And then we'll just add a little more each time we do a panel, and this stuff will just kind of absorb in and just be there as a nice way to get the car coated. Make sure after every time that you applicate the pad, you put the cap back on. So I'm basically just going to go back and forth. And that's a really great thing about a satin finish, is it's a whole lot easier to see what you're putting on. You can see going back and forth, and I'm kind of overlapping one run with another. You can see where if you don't press hard enough, you don't get enough product. And then when we go back, make sure that we're not missing a spot. Now I've got more product I can see, so might as well do a little more. I think that looks pretty good there. And this stuff flashes really quick, about 60 seconds. And you're gonna start to see it flash. You're gonna start to see it dry up a little bit and then get that little that rainbowish tinge. You have your initial wipe down. We're just trying to buff this product off. You can see the difference in the sheen that this gives. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Hopefully you can. As you can see, like I said, we are carrying product into areas that haven't been done yet. So then we go back with our second one. Man, that just looks so much better already. So now we're going to cut to a time lapse and be doing the whole rest of the hood. Make sure that you're flipping your microfibers inside out and around. We'll keep using the same surface each time. We're gonna let that cure for an hour as we do the entire rest of the car. So by the time we get done with the rest of the car, we should be back here. We'll come back then for coat number 2. Okay, a few hours later, it's time for coat number 2. I've learned a lot as I've gone through the car of how to apply a little bit smoother, a little bit slower. Definitely want a good thick application to not have the high spots. I did have some high spots on the hood, but they're easily solved with just a buff out. And like I said, up to 24 hours later, you can buff out high spots. So we're gonna put a trail down the middle of this applicator. And I'm actually gonna do half the hood this time and then the other half, a nice defined line down the middle. I'm probably gonna need a little more application. So I'm gonna start towards the middle. And I just kind of go up like that. I come over. Just start doing sections. But if you go too fast, you'll streak. So it's better to just go nice and slow. And you come back to this part where you just started, and you're starting to collect back a little more product as you go back. Added a final buff down with the no scratch microfiber from Gtechniq. This is way better than when I initially started. When I initially started, I had a lot of streaking because I was going a little bit too fast. But the good thing about this is when you go over to a second coat, the application reactivates the solvents, so you're good to go. So you got this nice line right here, but if you do a nice little buff on that line, it evens out so much better. And there we go. Now obviously use the light to your advantage. Have specific kind of lights. Obviously my garage lights have popped off, so I don't have as much light over there. but I'm using these lights on the sheen, and I'm just kind of angling and looking for the high spots. Now compared to earlier, this is way better. I see a little bit right here, but I can only see it from this angle. I'm not seeing it coming back from the opposite way, so you have to kind of look all around. Well, that's it. We have both coatings down, so now we have to wait 24 hours for them to cure. Now during that period of time, like I said, continue to use buffing cloths, use a flashlight or any kind of light you need to kind of check over and get those high spots out. You have that 24-hour period for that. After that, 7 days before you can wash your car. So it can get in the rain, but you don't want to use any chemicals to wash the car until that 7-day period is over with. After that, you can basically do whatever you want. So I hope you enjoyed it. You can use code Heidi10, capital HEIDI10 at Gtechniq.com on any of these products. If not, you can go to my Amazon store. It's linked below, Cars with Keeve, or I'll have links to some of these as well if you want to buy them on Amazon instead of through their website, because some people just want to do it that way. The price is slightly higher on Amazon though, but you know, it's more convenient that way. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Not even recording. If you have a wrap or a PPF, then you need this. If you have a wrap or PPF, then you need this. God, I can't. If you have a wrap or PPF, if you have a vinyl wrap or only that, but if you are going to need to wash it, oh my God, I didn't even introduce the product. But what you really need is a ceramic. But what you really need is a ceramic coating specific. So what do you need? Really? Really? And I know he's just gonna rev it exactly when I don't want him to. I can stand here for 5 minutes, wait for him to be silent. The minute I start talking to the camera, he's gonna rev that engine. Maybe now I know how my neighbors feel when I pull Heidi out of the driveway if they're trying to film. As you can hear it. Jeez. Come on, dude, keep on. I know you're coming. All right, he's gone. And I'm not crazy. I'm not talking to myself or the camera. I'm talking to you guys.